please kick off the festivities.
Welcome to our virtual meeting. If you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. Members, if you are able, please activate your video for purposes of quorum and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Staff, if you are able, please activate your video when you are speaking. All panelists, that is Alders Committee and staff, have the ability to mute and unmute themselves. Also, please continue to use the raise hand feature when you'd like to be recognized to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote. Lowering your hand will take you out of the queue. Members of the public, you have registered to speak. The name you entered in Zoom must match the name you entered in registration. You will remain muted until called upon. The clerk will tell you when your time is up. After speaking, a member of the body may ask you a question. If you need to share documentation with the committee, please send it to the email listed on today's agenda. Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So this meeting is governed by Robert's Rules of Order. All speakers wishing to address the committee regarding an agenda item must first complete a registration form and submit it to the city clerk designee. Speakers may speak to the committee only after they're called by the chair. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. The public is not allowed to address or respond to speakers or committee members unless they have been recognized by the chair of the committee. Mr. Verbeek, are there any notified absences?
Mr. Fletcher is a notified absence, and Alder Carter is notified as arriving late.
Excellent, thank you. I call this meeting of ALRC to order at 5:42 p.m. Mr. Verbeek, will you please call the roll?
Sure. And before I call the roll, there was something that the city attorney wanted me to add to the agenda, as all committees, and that's if you have not turned in your statement of interest, that you need to do so. January 3rd is the deadline. If you don't do it by then you are not able to vote as a member of the committee. But now we'll call the roll. Alder Miadzi.
Present.
Alder Miadzi is present. Alder Revere.
Here.
Alder Revere is present. Mr. Barshak.
Here.
Mr. Barshak is here. Dr. Reese.
Here.
Dr. Reese is here. Ms. Farley. She was here, and I think she emailed me their her connection's cutting in and out. So I'll note that. Mr. Donnelly.
Present.
Mr. Donnelly is present. Ms. Western.
Here.
Ms. Western is present. Alder Carter said she would be late, and Mr. Fletcher said he would not be attending. So, Chair, we have quorum.
Thank you very much. All right, first item is approval of the minutes from our meeting on November 16th. Committee, what is your pleasure?
Move approval.
Your motion to approve from Alder Miadzi, is there a second? Second from Dr. Reese. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries for approval of the minutes from last month's meeting. Mr. Verbeek, is anyone registered for general public comment?
Nobody is registered for general public comment.
All right, moving right along. Disclosures and recusals. So at this time, members of the body should make any required disclosures or recusals under the city's ethics code. Are there any such disclosures or recusals? Let the record show that there are none. All right, presentation of the consent agenda. Mr. Verbeek.
So the proposed consent agenda, we have only one item to recommend to council to grant, and that is item 3. It's a change of agent. And we have 2 items to refer to next LRC meeting in January. And that's item number 4, change of licensed premises at the request of the applicant. And item number 11, public hearing new license for Vice Crowns LLC, also a request of the applicant.
Committee, any requests for information or separation of any of these items? If not, a motion would be in order.
Move approval.
Your motion from Ms. Westra to approve the consent agenda as proposed. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alder Revere. Any discussion? Alder Miazzi? His hand's gone down.
No, I was just moving approval to second it.
Sounds good. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Consent agenda is approved as proposed. Mr. Verbeek, would you please let people know what exactly or remind everybody what we just approved, so anyone in the audience knows that they can leave if they need to.
Sure. So the past consent agenda for ALRC meeting December 21st, 2022, recommend the council to grant item number 3, change of agent for Attic Angel Place. And then the committee is referring to the January 18th, 2023 ALRC meeting. Item number 4, change of licensed premises for Madison Locomotive LLC at 646 West Washington Avenue, number 5. And item number 11, public hearing new license for Vice Grounds LLC, 6067 Gemini Drive, Class B combination liquor and beer.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So first item is operator's license application for Gary Elmore. Do we have Gary here with us?
I don't believe we do. I did not see him registered.
Very
And if
well.
the committee recalls, last week we referred it, but that's because he requested us to refer it prior to the meeting. So it was not a no-show last month.
Committee, what's your pleasure? Ms. Westra?
Move referral to the first meeting of the next year of 2023.
I hear motion to refer. Is there a second? Second from Dr. Reese. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 2 is referred. All right, Mr. Verbeek, do we have interpreters here for any items?
We do have 2 interpreters here for 2 items. It is item number item number 8, but I don't see the registrant here yet. The other one is for item 18. Oh, I'm sorry, not item number 19. And that one is for Spanish interpreter, and I do see the applicant here.
Well, then, unless anyone has any concerns, let's take up item 19. A new license application for Casa Fiesta. And Mr. Verbeek, would you do any necessary swearing in first, please?
Sure. Julio, if I can have you raise your right hand and have you affirm that you will accurately interpret English to Spanish and Spanish to English. Can you say I do?
Yep. Oh,
okay,
can you hear me?
awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
I do hear you now.
Excellent. And do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, and Antonio Ornelas is here.
Excellent. Antonio, please introduce yourself and describe the business you are proposing.
Sí, Antonio, si puede por favor presentarse y explicar un poco cuál es el negocio que está proponiendo.
Bueno, esto es para el restaurante mexicano. ¿Y cuál era la pregunta exactamente?
Si quiere presentarse primero.
Bueno, yo soy Antonio Ornelas y estoy tratando soy el general manager del restaurante Casa Fiesta, que va a estar en el 7005 de la Trim Lane en Madison, y lo vamos a tratar de abrir para el 1 de marzo. Va a ser un restaurante mexicano.
Yeah, my name is Antonio Ornelas, and I'm the general manager for the restaurant Casa Fiesta that we are trying to open by March 1st at 7005 Tree Lane, and this is going to be a Mexican restaurant.
Excellent. Thank you, Antonio. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant?
Okay.
Anyone? Mr. Bruchak.
How long, well, thanks for coming tonight. How long have you been in the food and beverage business?
Sí, muchas gracias por estar presente aquí esta noche. ¿Cuánto tiempo lleva trabajando en la industria de comida y bebida?
Bueno, son muchos años. Yo creo que son como 25 años, por lo menos, haciendo pues casi lo mismo. Estábamos en Ohio y luego por allí en Michigan, y ahora venimos aquí aquí a Wisconsin.
I would say we have been doing this for many years, 25 years, and we were doing the same. First, we were in Ohio, then we moved to Michigan, and now we came to Wisconsin.
Any further questions from you, Mr. Bruchak?
No, Chair.
What other questions do you have for the applicant, committee? All right, Ms. Westra.
I'm just going to put a motion out there.
Do it.
Move approval.
Your motion to approve from Ms. Westra. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Bruchak. Just Mr. Verbeek, are there any other registrants for this item?
No, there are not.
All right. Well, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Congratulations, Antonio.
Antonio, acaban de hacer la moción para aprobar su licencia de alcohol. Nadie se ha opuesto y no hay nadie más para hablar sobre este asunto, así que se va a aprobar su licencia de alcohol. Enhorabuena.
Muchas gracias.
Yep. Thank you so much.
And happy holidays, Julio.
Same to you, Michael.
All right. Mr. Verbeek, do we have a registrant here for item 8?
I do not see an applicant or a registrant here for item 8. I see that they registered. I did send them an email to let them know that I see somebody registered there, but I do not see somebody actually in the meeting yet this time. So hopefully they get back to us, but at this time I don't see anyone there. I know we have a phone number in the attendees list, but I don't see that number associated with the person who registered.
Okay, well, let's just continue with the agenda in its regular order, and hopefully by the time we get there, we will have someone to talk to. So next up, we've got item 5, which is a 18+ visual and performing arts license for Lush Lounge. Also item 13, a new alcohol license for Lush Lounge. Do we have a registrant here for these items?
We do. I don't see them actually having registered in our system, but I do see the applicant here in the Zoom. I see they registered for the wrong item. They registered for item 2, but it's Elisa Davis is the register is Eddie Lopez, but Lisa Davis is also the name that I have in there. Lisa is the one who's the applicant.
All right. Can you sort out the bookkeeping part of it?
I can, yeah.
Wonderful. So Lisa or Eddie, whoever it is, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about the business you're proposing?
Hi, we're actually both here, so I didn't know how to put both names on there. We actually, I went before you guys last year, for Lush Lounge, and we did get approved. The city had made me change my address, and so they, I guess, basically made me do a new application just for an address change. So we've been open and running, been, been going well. Of course, with the new business, there's, a hiccup here and there, but other than that, everything's moving forward. Hence why I applied for the entertainment license. I'd like to do things like karaoke night, and be able to have hosts, maybe DJs, and things like that to support other small businesses in the community. But otherwise, yeah, we're a lounge, and we are planning to do pop-ups for food. Right now, I don't have really the means or the capability with the space in the back to do a lot of food. We do plan to do cold food starting next year. So I do plan to apply for a food license as well. But
All right, thank you. So am I correct to understand that the 18 plus visual and performing arts license is something new, while the alcohol license is merely a new copy of what you already had at the mistaken address?
correct. Yep. So I was already approved for the well, it wasn't mistaken. We when I applied for it, the address was 3769 and it had a suite. But the city of Madison required my landlord to change the addresses because it's a storefront.
I see. All right.
Yep.
And is everything about this application, other than the address, identical to the one that ALRC saw before?
It is the only thing that I'd like to change is that we had 1 o'clock on there for Fridays and Saturdays, and since opening, I've realized that Madison is kind of more of a late night. A lot of people go out later on Fridays and Saturdays, so I'd like to move that to 2 o'clock, and then I'd like to keep the 1 o'clock. I've actually been closing about 12:30 every other day during the week.
Right. Thank you very much. Assistant City Attorney Zillivi.
Thank you. I've got a couple of things. I did confirm with zoning that they have not been contacted regarding the entertainment license. The entertainment license, in essence, makes them a nightclub, and that's a conditional use for that particular area. I also talked with the landlord, and he was unaware of the plan to get an entertainment license. And in terms of whether this application is identical to the original one, it is not. The original one was for a lounge, and the hours of operation on the original one were, I believe, noon to midnight. No mention of the entertainment and such that's on the current license application. So basically, what was presented before and what you approved was not how the business was operated. And I don't know if you read my memo that I submitted, but there were operational concerns and issues the first weekend they opened. So I would carefully scrutinize and consider what you are going to do with this application tonight. And I would ask that you not do anything with the entertainment license until the conditional use piece has been taken care of. Because if you approve it, the lines just get blurred and we run into problems with licenses being issued when they shouldn't be issued. And it's just cleaner if we wait until the zoning piece is put into place.
Great. Thank you very much, Assistant City Attorney Zilovey. Ms. Westra.
So if that's the case, how would we, since we pulled them both onto the table, can we refer the entertainment license to our next meeting and get that off the table and just discuss the liquor license?
By all means, is that a motion to refer?
That is.
Do I hear a second? Second from Dr. Reese. So we have a motion to refer item 5 and only item 5 to the next regularly scheduled ALRC meeting. Any discussion?
So my question, I'm sorry, my question is, when is conditional use meeting? Because if we refer it and that agenda item is not taken care of, it'd be a waste of time. So I'm just trying to get a handle for when that meeting is.
That is an excellent question, Alder Miadzi. Mr. Verbeek, do you know the answer?
I do not know when the next meeting is for that. I will say though that one does not have to occur before the other. So the conditional use meeting does not need to occur before the ALRC can approve an entertainment license. The entertainment license would not be issued until the conditional use has actually been granted. And conversely, the zoning or the conditional use can be granted prior to the ALRC meeting. But those things can occur parallel. They don't need to wait. One doesn't need to wait for the other one.
Thank you, Mr. Verbeek. Assistant City Attorney Zilovey.
I was just going to say, I don't know whether this is an administrative approval in terms of the conditional use or whether they have to go to the Plan Commission. So if it has to go to the Plan Commission, I would imagine that it can't be done before the next ALRC meeting. And I'm curious who Eddie Lopez is and what his relationship to the business is.
Good evening, committee members. I'm Eddie Lopez. I recently just replaced the general manager, Robin, from here. We've been making a lot of changes since I've come on board concerning security, bartenders, management, really just trying to make sure that everything is safe moving forward here. It's awesome to meet you guys.
Excellent. Good to meet you as well. All right, committee, we have a motion before us to refer item 5 to the next regularly scheduled ALRC meeting. Any further discussion of that item? Okay. Hearing none, is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 5 is referred to the next ALRC meeting. Let's continue with item 13 since we've already got the applicants here for us. So what questions do you have for the applicants? Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have a question for the applicant at this moment, but I did want to ask the Deputy City Clerk if he could kindly email us the Alder of the District's memo or email from late today, Alder Paulson, because it doesn't appear to be attaching in Legistar. It looks like we have Legistar issues tonight. So Jim, okay, if you could email that to us, we could review that while we're discussing and asking questions. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Alder Revere. Let's see, Dr. Reese and then Captain Sanders.
Thank you. Ms. Davis, can you just describe a little bit about the business model? Because when we originally approved this, you described it as being kind of a low-key adult, older person vibe. And you had limited hours, as the city attorney mentioned. And then, there's a little bit kind of different vibe as you've been operating. And we noticed that all the hours are changed on this application. So can you just kind of describe what you're looking to do going forward?
Yes. So I still, I still am aiming for it to be, a low key place for, people that are, a little bit older to come. And, our age group generally is, in 30s and a little bit older. We do have some younger people that do come, but I would say probably 70% is a little bit older. With the hours, like I said, I moved here 4 years ago. I have 3 kids. I don't really go out very much, so I didn't realize that Madison is on Fridays and Saturdays more. People go out later hours, generally speaking, especially when you don't serve food. So, with that being said, too, I do plan to incorporate food within this, within this next year. Once we, get things smoothed out as far as management and, getting the business ran smoother, which Eddie's been doing a great job, getting us on that track to do so. And yeah, so as far as the hours, I mean, like I said, just Friday and Saturday are really the only hours that I'd like to adjust, so that my bartenders can, make some money, and of course, I can be profitable. I've noticed that probably from 11 to 2 is the most profitable time those days.
Okay, so on your application, you have closing as 1 a.m. Is that that's the plan?
So on Fridays and Saturdays, I'd like to have the option to be able to stay open until 2. What we've been doing, just because that even that last half an hour and stuff will make a difference. We've been calling last call at 1:30 and getting people out of here before 2. So not actually calling last call at 2, but having everybody cleared out, parking lot cleared out by 2:00.
Okay, and can you describe your security plans to us?
Yeah, so I will, actually, I guess, should I let you take over, Eddie, on that one? 'Cause you've been doing the helping with higher security.
Yeah, so recently we let go of all of our security team. They were a little inexperienced, and we can tell that, their future was not in securing or being in the security business at all. So we had hired a security firm, and they are very much doing a good job, way more professional, and you can tell the difference in just a short.
What firm is that?
G&T.
Okay.
J.E. security firm.
Are they local?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have for now.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Reese. Assistant City Attorney Zillivi.
Thank you. I didn't catch the name of the security company.
J&T security firm. They're local here in Madison. They've been doing it for, I believe, 15 years or so. They plan on continuing to do this.
And how long have you had them on board?
They had just been hired, so it's been about a week or so.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, thank you, Assistant City Attorney Zillivi. Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Captain Zanders.
I just want to be transparent as possible. I'm joined tonight by Lieutenant Scott Kleinfeld from the East Police District. So if you have any questions from the MPD side of house, Lieutenant Scott Kleinfeld is available to answer those.
All right, thank you, Captain and Lieutenant. Ms. Farley.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. My question, so I guess given the security incident that has occurred, I am a little bit concerned about the extension of the hours. My question is if the applicant would be open to restriction of the hours with the option to like come back next year, assuming that the new security plan is effective.
Alyssa or Eddie, please feel free to respond to Ms. Farley's question.
My only concern with restricting hours would be that it would really put a damper on the atmosphere, the energy, our profitability would definitely go down, especially around the holidays and for this next whole year. We would always close early if there's any type of security issue. And safety is definitely our number one concern.
Ms. Farley?
That answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
What additional questions do you have for the applicants? Mr. Bruchak.
Thank you. Besides replacing the security personnel, is there any other specific changes that you would like to share with the committee right now?
We've invested in cameras all over the interior, outside as well. Really enforcing a dress code and making sure that bartenders are really staying on top of not over serving any customers at all. Those bartenders have been let go. We've also started up with the Tavern League, so safe rides are always encouraged. But other than that, we're definitely more active on making sure that we meet all the customers that come through the door.
Thank you. And has everyone been trained on ID checking? And
yes, definitely. A lot of the nights it's 25 and up.
Have you found that, so you have a 25 and up rule, have you found that produces better outcomes or the same outcomes?
I'm thinking that produces a way better outcome.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bruchak. Captain Sanders.
I'm interested in knowing who provides the ID checks. And I do think Lieutenant Kleinfeld does have something to say after I'm done, sir.
Eddie, Alyssa, would one of you like to answer Captain Xander's question?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Certainly, I'm interested in who has provided the ID training.
The lead of the new security team was in charge of that. Also bartenders. Recently, we just got a machine for scanning IDs called a Moonbine Android barcode scanner.
And with this new scanner that we got, it will tell us if anybody's ID is fake. It'll also let us know if anybody's been banned from any other bars around the area. So that allows us to, know and interpret it and, see ahead if somebody could potentially be an issue.
Right. Captain Xanders, has your question been answered?
Affirmative.
Thank you. All right, Alder Miadzi, then Ms. Westra.
Actually, Captain Xander's answer question was sufficient, but also too, if they could elaborate on the security team as far as if they had a problem, how would they handle it, and who would handle it? Do you guys have? We talk about security team bouncers, besides just a person that checks ID. Thank you.
Yeah, with this new security firm, they've been bouncer security for a good 15 years now. They're very experienced in making sure that problems are kept to a minimum and not escalated in certain situations. People are escorted out. They're either put in a safe ride or asked for a person to get them home and out of the property.
Alder Miadzi, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Right. Ms. Westra.
So a question that I have is, so in the original liquor license, the hours that you have been functioning are not matching up with what was applied for. In looking at what you are applying for on this new liquor license, I see it's Wednesday, 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. Now we talked that you said you wanted to be open till bar time. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. When I look on your Facebook page about your open hours that you're promoting, it's Tuesday, 3 p.m. to 2 a.m., Wednesday, Thursday, 3 to 12, Friday, 3 to 2 a.m., Saturday, 3 to 2 a.m., and Sunday, 11 to 12 a.m. What hours will you be open and you will be going forward with people?
Those hours will be accurate. The only one that we need to adjust would be Tuesday. We'll be at 1, but other than that, the hours on there are accurate, and I apologize about the confusion with hours. Like I said, it's
on the license or on the Facebook page.
On the Facebook page, the license. When I filled that out, we were kind of unsure about what hours we were going to have, and then when I reapplied for this, I was explained that it was just for an address change. I didn't realize with the city insisting that I had to change my address, that it would be, a whole new application. And I was notified about, 4 hours before my license expired. So I rushed down there and, I didn't even have time to, overlook the application, to be honest. By the time that I got the email that basically if I didn't get down there and have an application in that day that I wouldn't be able to operate anymore, I raced down there and had 5 minutes to refill out the application and to go about that. So the hours on Facebook would be correct, minus Tuesday. We would close at 1.
Ms. Westra, do you have additional questions?
And I can make sure that I send the committee, go down even and adjust the hours, with you guys so that everybody is on the same page.
Of course.
I don't-
Assistant City Attorney Zellaby.
I'm trying to Google this security firm to get information and nothing comes up on them. How did you get in touch with them?
AST, they actually they texted me, and, reached out to me. So.
What? But it's J&T Security?
AST.
JST?
Yes. If you'd like, I can send contact information.
Sure.
Either contract, whatever you need.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I send that to the committee?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you send it to Mr. Verbic or to licensing@cityofmadison.com.
I'll send it to Jim. I have his, I'm pretty familiar with his email.
Perfect, thank you. Captain Sanders.
And I'll also send the updated hours so everybody's on the same page for our hours as well.
Excellent. Captain Sanders.
I believe Lieutenant Kleinfeld joined under my lead. That should be Lieutenant Kleinfeld.
All right, Lieutenant Kleinfeld.
Yeah, thanks for having me tonight. Captain Gary wasn't able to make it, and he is the captain of the East District. He shared with me some notes that he had referenced this meeting and his discussion with Alyssa about the license. I'm glad to hear about the camera system. That was one of the things Captain Gary discussed. Camera coverage inside and outside of the establishment, monitoring the parking stalls and the inside, and making sure that video is retained for 2 weeks in the event of an incident. He also discussed, the second thing was the security plan. 1 to 2 security personnel Sunday through Thursday, and then 7 to 9 on Friday and Saturday night. The security staff should be readily identifiable, control the parking lot as well as inside. The last thing that he wanted me to discuss was the operational hours. He too is concerned with the changes in times. Did not think it was appropriate to go till 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday night. And he believed the operational hours should be limited to closing at 1 and reviewed at a later date to see how that's going. Having new bartenders and a new security staff hired within the past couple weeks, I don't think it would be wise to stay open till bar closing time with all these new changes in place. I am a little bit concerned about the security company. I have worked for Madison PD for over 20 years and have never heard of this team. A good majority of my time I spent downtown in the entertainment district. And that company name has never come up to me. So I do have some concerns about that. We have concerns about adequate parking for the establishment and what has been found from the Goodyear and the Midas lot where we had problems in the past. So I'm hoping those have been resolved. And since the entertainment license has been put on hold, we'll wait to address those concerns as well at a later date.
All right. Thank you, Lieutenant Kleinfeld. Do you have any questions for the applicants, or was that just information for the committee?
That was information for the committee. I do have a couple questions for the applicants. One, with regards to the parking arrangements, it was my understanding from Midas and Goodyear that you do not have permission to park on their property. The only property and spots that I think you have available to you are less than 20. I was just curious if the parking issue has been resolved.
So as far as the parking goes, I spoke with Goodyear last January, actually, when I looked at the space and signed the lease, and they did give me permission to park there. I can look back and find an email. I don't know if management has changed or what the reasoning would be for that, but they did give me permission after they are closed to park there. Midas did not. With that being said, our security team has been adequately checking the Midas parking lot throughout the night, and if there are cars there, we call and we have them towed.
Yeah, the Goodyear management has changed. It's my understanding from them that they did not give anybody permission to park there. So
yeah,
how many
about
spots,
that? Go ahead.
spots do you have then in the lot for parking?
Well, I will have to, I guess I didn't count. I don't know. It sounds like you maybe did stop and count how many spots we had, but I will go and I'll speak maybe with Goodyear and see if I can, rent spaces from them, or see if we can come to an agreement since our previous agreement is null and void due to change in management. But I did have permission from them. I wouldn't allow people to park in somebody else's property without permission.
Excellent. And then the other question that I did have was, I know Robin used to have a bartender's license. I'm just curious who now has a bartender's license for the establishment.
I can get you a list. There's actually a few of our bartenders that do have bartending licenses. So I will send that in the email with Jim as well, to Jim as well after this meeting.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Kleinfeld. Alder Miadzi.
Based on all these convoluted questions, I'm just wondering, a lot of times we have, as an alder, we have meetings about any kind of establishments coming into the district, such as this bar. So I'm just wondering, what communication did you have with the alder, and what was his response, and also what was the feel of the community about this establishment or this new venture? Thank you.
I met with the alder, was on the phone with them, communicated well, with the community, and I never got any backlash. Again, I think I do have emails, that show their support for it, and so I will as well include that for you guys in this email, showing the support from the community. It was a very long time ago. This isn't I got approved last year, so I guess I don't, opening a new business, there's so much going on. I don't remember or recall the exact conversation or what the email said, but I would be happy to send that to you as well.
All right, and I guess my next question is, what time last year? Okay. I guess my next question, follow up to that, is like, when was this community meeting, and was parking, and was that addressed too, or?
We had an open community meeting. I don't think anybody even showed up. Are you talking about where it was like the public meeting that, you open up your space and people from the community are allowed to come and speak to you about it?
Yes.
Yes. No, I did that and nobody showed up at all.
Okay, and the parking spot, was it addressed with the alder as well?
I don't believe that was addressed with the alder. my landlord had recommended me speaking to Goodyear about it, and, you know, being that their property, that was their property, I spoke with that, with Goodyear, and I did at that time from that management get approval from it.
All right, thank you.
Alder Miazzi, do you have additional questions? All right, Mr. Burshak.
Hi, I was just wondering about the security company. I still don't know what the letters are because the quality of the sound. So I was wondering if anyone on the call was able to find anything, or if the applicant could say the initials with a word to help me know what letter it is.
It's J, Jolly, S as in Sam, T as in Tom.
So that's like J as in Juliet, S as in Sam, T as in Tango.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Any further questions, Mr. Burshak?
No.
All right, Dr. Reese.
Move approval.
Here, a motion to approve from Dr. Reese. Is there, say again?
I said for the purposes of discussion.
I'll second for debate.
Your motion to approve. Dr. Reese and a second from Mr. Burshak. Dr. Reese, feel free to speak to your motion.
So, there are clearly a lot of concerns here. The one that is most concerning to me is the difference in what's on the application and what, you know, is the answers to the questions and the information that we're getting from other parties. That concerns me. However, I do note that sounds like there's a lot of big changes made recently with the new security team, different operating hours, and it seems like a different approach according to the public promotion that's out there. So, and then also the Alder giving support. Alder Paulson appears to be supportive of wanting to see this business succeed and give it a chance. And so, I think, you know, we'd have to make clear that to the owners that this is, you know, the concerns that have come up so far are significant, and it's, if this license is granted, it's critically important that these guidelines are followed exactly as written, and that the, you know, establishment is really transparent with the concerned parties that are on tonight about how things are operating. If it is going to have a chance to succeed in the city, it's really important that everybody works together, and that if, you know, if safety is the primary concern, then it's really important that the operations reflect that. So with that in mind, I would support approving this license at this time.
All right, thank you, Dr. Reese. Mr. Verbeek, are there any other registrants for this item?
Let me double check to see if anyone's added, but at the time before I did not see anything.
It looks like there's a Robin Thompson with a hand raised.
Yep, it looks like there's a Robin who signed up for the wrong item, item number 6.
Can I'm sorry. With that being said, she was actually
Alyssa, You can answer questions that
Right.
you have been asked by members of the
I
committee.
apologize.
We'll let you know if we have any questions. By all means. So, Mr. Verbeek, do we have a registrant for this item?
For this item, no.
Okay. Since their hand is up, can we can we let them talk for a second, see if they made a mistake and actually meant to register for this item?
I think we can. Yeah, the register for item 6, not item 5 or 13.
Hello?
So, Robin, is this the item that you wanted to speak on?
Yes, it is. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Okay, awesome. Yes, I am registering for the item for Lush Lounge, the entertainment portion. I've been watching and listening to you guys for a second. I just wasn't able to log on. But yes, this is the right item.
Excellent. So it's your nickel. What do you want to bring to the committee's attention?
Well, hello everyone. I'm Robin Thompson. I am a owner of Lush Lounge. I have been talking with an attorney, so I'm not quite sure how much information I can say or what I can say, I guess, if that makes sense. I've just come here to kind of speak my piece about the whole situation that's going on at Lush Lounge and Alyssa Davis. Honestly, I don't think that entertainment license or the actual liquor license should be regranted. If you guys remember our original ARLRC meeting back in, I believe, like September, maybe August of 2021. And we had planned a different upbringing for Lush Lounge, more of a laid back, relaxed type of, grown and sexy kind of feel, very upscale. Somewhere in that plan, things changed with Alyssa. She has, locked the doors on the business for me. As we agreed to be, I was going to be the general manager over the entire process, and somehow she's barred me from there. Her and Eddie. There's a lot of things going on there. I don't think that they should be open. Like I said, I have a lawyer right now who's going to be helping me fight this case. It was very for me, it was very hard to get this far in life. As you guys know, I've spoke to Jim and I've spoke to the one lady. She's been on the committee for a while, and also Karen, about, how well I've progressed and, how far I've come over the years. I know there's that one sergeant guy who, who kind of knows me from my past or whatever. He always says a lot of negative things about me versus the positive things I've done to change my life around. And my main focus here is to say that Lush Lounge needs to be closed, period.
All right. Thank you, Robin. Committee, what questions do you have for this registrant? Ms. Westra?
Sir, I have a question for staff. So I'll take my hand down.
Okay. Assistant City Attorneys.
Oh, I need some water.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson, when you say you're an owner of the business, what does that mean? You're a member of the LLC? You're currently muted.
Can you guys hear me?
Now, yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous right now. It took me forever to get into this meeting, so I'm a little shaken up. I'll calm down eventually. But I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question for me?
You stated that you are a part owner of this business. Are you a member of the LLC, or how are you a part owner of the business?
Well, honestly, I created the business. I created the idea of the business and how forth of moving forward to, work with the city, get us open, so forth and so on. I contributed just as much work as she did. She put forth up most of the capital, if you will, willing to say, versus I did all the back end work.
But are you a
We
member
did
of
sign the
the?
degree.
Are you a member of?
We did sign an agreement. We do have an operator's agreement intact. On the actual articles of organizations, I believe the first top half is Alyssa's name, and then the second bottom half is my name. Now, when we drew this up, both of us, this kind of being our first like brick and mortar type of business. Me, myself, I have a lot of business degrees. I have a human resource management degree, a business management degree, a bunch of other, certificates and stuff underneath my belt.
Robin,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Robin, can you try to constrain your answer to answering the question from Assistant City Attorney Zovey, please?
Well, the moral, yes, we do. Yes.
Well, my question is, are you a member of Lush Lounge LLC?
Yes, I am.
And do you have the articles in incorporation for the LLC to show that?
Yes, I have the articles, and I also have our operator's agreement. Yes.
Well, this has turned into a bit of a cluster. And one of my concerns, if Robin is a member of the LLC, is that Alyssa was not honest with the committee when she initially got her license, because I don't know if the committee remembers that there was concern about Ms. Thompson being part of the LLC back when the application was first before you, and Alyssa said that she had taken her off the LLC and that she was only going to be a manager of the business. So the candor of the applicant is a little concerning.
Wow.
I'm looking at the original application now, and at least in the table there in the application for an alcohol license, which is obviously not the articles of incorporation from the state, it lists Alyssa and Robin, but then Robin's name is crossed out in the application. So, Assistant City Attorney Zovey, do you have additional questions?
I do not.
All right. Committee members, what questions do you have for Robin? Right. What questions, Mr. Bruchak?
Thank you, Robin. So are you saying that Alyssa has not been truthful with the committee?
Yes, sir. I am saying Alyssa is guilty of misconduct. Yes.
No further question.
Thank you, Mr. Bruchak. Alder Miadzi.
I guess my questions is a little confusing because I'm wondering at what point was the name crossed out, and was it supposed to be crossed out, or how does that process work where somebody submits an application and at least does Robin know their name was supposed to be or was crossed out, or
no?
So Alder Miadzi, there, for what it's worth, there is a date next to where it's crossed out, but I think that what's on the application is less important than what is officially in the Articles of Incorporation, which cannot simply be changed by crossing a name out. Also, I'd like to remind Robin, Alyssa, and Eddie that you can respond to questions from members of the committee and staff, but please don't jump in and volunteer things. Alder Miadzi, do you have any additional questions?
So the article has the name of Robin in it, but it's crossed out in the application. Is that what you're saying, Chair?
That is absolutely not what I'm saying. I am saying that the application for an alcohol license has the name and it is crossed out. I am not aware of us having a copy of the Articles of Incorporation, unless Mr. Verbeek would care to correct me.
We do get Articles of Incorporation. I don't know if they actually include the members of the LLC on the Articles of Incorporation. I think it just states the establishment of the LLC. But I'll double check and see what we got.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Alder Miadzi. All right, committee. What questions do you have for this registrant, for the applicant, or for staff? Ms. Farley.
Given the circumstances, I don't know how to word this, but I'd like to ask for the recommendation from our assistant attorney.
Assistant City Attorney Brist. It appears that we have a question for you.
Yes.
So, Ms. Farley, what advice are you requesting from our counsel?
Yeah, I guess my question is, given the situation with the Articles of Incorporation and everything, what the recommendation would be to move forward?
Well, I can't tell what's going on, frankly, from the information that has been elicited so far. The Articles of Organization that were filed with the Department of Financial Institutions would be the document that we may need to see, and maybe Jim Verbeek can tell us if we have that. But at this point, I am somewhat confused by this, by what's going on right now, and I wonder if we need more information.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the actual Articles of Incorporation with me. I think they might be in the office. I don't see them as having been scanned or put in anything like that.
Well, at a minimum, we may wish to delay making a decision at this meeting and postpone this to the next meeting potentially, and gather information.
Okay.
Ms. Farley, do you have questions for Assistant City Attorney Brist, or in fact, anyone else?
Can I make a motion to table this to the next meeting at the request of additional information around the role of the registrant in the application applying LLC?
We have a motion before us to grant, I believe, although I'm very open to correction if I'm wrong about this, that's a motion we need to dispose of before we could entertain a motion to refer to the next ALRC.
Well, the motion to grant would be the main motion. You could still table this or refer this to the next meeting. That would be possible under Robert's Rules of Order. The main motion is the motion to grant. I would think we could still refer the matter to the next meeting if that's what, but I mean, maybe it would be cleaner to make a decision I don't know if we want to make a decision on the motion to grant, if we're going to delay this.
I have the articles of organization.
Well, you have something you claim are the articles of organization. We don't know what was filed and what.
No, I originally have the articles of.
Robin, please wait for people to ask questions. So, all right. It has been the ALRC convention through my, I guess, 10 years now of being on the committee and 3 before that of attending meetings, that I am unaware of any point when we have done a referral in the middle of another motion and had to pick that motion up next time. I think it might well be burdensome on staff to track that status. I have no doubt that I will forget between now and then. So for the sake
Let
of
me point out
cleanliness,
that to deny the license, to deny the license at this point, you need to do it for the health, safety, and welfare of the community. And there has to be reasons for the
Assistant
denial.
City Attorney Brest.
So, I mean, you've got to make a record.
Assistant City Attorney Brest. Assistant City Attorney Brest. There's a difference between voting no to a motion to grant and moving to deny. So,
well, no, there
if this
isn't.
motion
Legally,
fails,
how can there be a difference between what if you don't, and I don't understand how you can say that voting no, defeating the motion to grant the license is not a denial. Are you going to have that motion presented again?
We have even had points in the past where we've had a motion to grant, which has failed, and we've had to come back the next month so that we could actually have a motion to do something, which is to deny the application or place it on file. All we've done.
I recall an incident where that happened because the committee failed to state the reasons of the health, safety, and welfare of the community being at stake, and we had to come back for another meeting and make a record.
Can I withdraw my motion?
With the consent of the body, you can withdraw your motion. The motion is the property of the committee right now, not yours. Ask unanimous consent to withdraw your motion if you want to withdraw it.
I would ask for unanimous consent to withdraw the motion on the table in light of the information we've received.
It's not the motion on the table, it's the motion before the body.
What he said. Sorry.
I second
All
that.
right.
If you need a second.
Does anyone dissent to Dr. Reese's request? All right. I am going to assume that the hands that are up of people who are not waving at me are not dissenting. And no one is protesting that statement. So that motion is rescinded. Committee, what is your pleasure? You have a wide open field. Mr. Bruchak.
Thank you, Chair. I think I'm very confused right now. The committee needs to consider a few things. One, if we refer this because of confusion based on a public comment, I'm concerned that any statement could serve, as a way to prevent the committee from doing its business. Like, suppose something else comes up next month, and someone in the community doesn't like it, so they come and feed the committee information that causes us to be unsure, and essentially uses the public comment period as a dilatory tactic. I'm concerned about that. But I'm also concerned that we don't have the whole story, or at least we're hearing, conflicting things here. So I'm not comfortable at this time. I feel like I don't have enough information. So I can't hear you if you're trying to
Would
talk.
you like something that might provide? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I might be able to provide some relief on the first point. A random member of the community showing up wouldn't have their name on the original application crossed out.
Fair enough. So you're basically saying that the specific situation before us is what is causing this, and not and you don't think that it would be used as a tactic because the situation won't be this situation. If that's what you're saying, then I understand that, and it does soothe my anxiety. But thank you.
Excellent. For what it's worth, I had the same concern that you did until I realized that. Let's see, Ms. Assistant City Attorney Zillavi.
I just want to chime in on that concern, and that I do understand it. And if this were a different situation, I would agree with you. And we have had circumstances where a random member of the public came before the committee and gave testimony to try and, like, against the business, saying that they did this, that, and the other thing wrong and don't give them a license. And there were no other facts that warranted doing anything based on that person's testimony. In this situation, there are, in my opinion, many red flags to this license application. The fact that what originally happened with the application, when there were concerns about Ms. Thompson, and then Ms. Davis said, oh yeah, she's not going to be ownership, she's just going to be on board as a manager. The representation of a very different business model and different hours than what she actually ended up doing. And again, on this newest application, she's representing hours of business, but now she's saying, oh no, I want to be open till bar time. And there's just, I think, a lot of red flags, and I feel like misinformation that's been given to the committee, and it would be a disservice to the community to not flesh all of this out and find out what is the truth and who is doing what, and get to the bottom of it.
In my experience backs up what Assistant City Attorney Zillavi said. I can think of a number of occasions where people have showed up saying this applicant is doing something wrong. And while, of course, we've given them their 3 minutes, the only case that comes readily to mind where that's actually influenced us was a not entirely dissimilar situation with a large entertainment venue on State Street. That was more than a decade ago. All of the other ones since have not resulted in any meaningful delay. Ms. Farley.
I would like to make a motion to refer to the next regular meeting of the ALRC with the request for records of the LLC, registered LLC members, and an updated application with the time of closing for the establishment.
All right, I hear a motion to refer from Ms. Farley. Is there a second? A second from Ms. Westra. Discussion? Alder Miadzi?
Sorry.
Alder Miadzi? All right, Ms. Westra?
Can we, or can the city attorney also, and I believe that we have it, but if there is one, can we get an updated copy of the lease for the business to the city attorney so that we can, because since they've been contacted about the change in hours, premises, everything, and there seemed to be unawareness to the business scope changing, to see if there's anything in that lease or who is the leasees. That would also be great to know if we are able to.
A fine point indeed. So, Alyssa or Eddie, please, in addition to the other materials you're planning to email to Jim, please also include a copy of your lease. And I invite Eddie, Alyssa, Robin, and anyone else who's interested to send Jim any materials they believe would be pertinent to this situation, ideally comfortably in advance of the next ALRC meeting so that he has time to get them into Legistar. Ms. Westra, do you have any further questions or comments?
I do not.
All right. Mr. Verbeek.
Sorry, Chair, I wasn't able to mute. I was just going to second the motion to have it at the next meeting.
All right, thank you. Mr. Verbeek.
Yeah, I just want to say that I believe the articles of incorporation we get from applicants doesn't have a list of members in it. So I don't know if a member of the LLC has to request from the Department of Financial Institutions the application or anything from that state agency on who is the filed members of that corporation. But typically the proof that we get with the articles of incorporation does not have the member list in it. So that's something that we would need to get submitted to us beyond what has already been submitted to us.
I think we should invite the parties to submit such information to the committee, through the clerk.
Agreed. All right. Is there any further discussion of the motion to refer to the next regularly scheduled ALRC meeting? Alder Miadzi.
Lastly, too, I wanted to see if they can have a letter of clarification from the parking, where there might have been Goodyear or the other Midas, to make sure there's a clear approval of parking spaces, to have that addressed too.
That is an excellent idea. So, Alyssa or Eddie, if you are able to secure an agreement to rent parking from anyone, please, well, I would certainly recommend that you have a contract for that, and whatever you have, please forward a copy to Mr. Verbeek. Ms. Westra.
Also, if we could get, since there's been confusion about the security company, something documented about their relationship with the security company professionally, be it letterhead, something.
That's a great idea. Perhaps also contact information for that company so that it's possible to determine who they are. Anything else, Ms. Westra?
Nope.
All right, committee, any further discussion of the motion to refer? Hearing none. Is there, Mr. Verbeek, are there any additional registrants for this item?
Let me do another check again, just to ensure that. No, I do not see any additional registrants.
All right. We've got a motion and a second. We've had discussion. Committee, is there any dissent to this motion to refer? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 13 is referred to the next regularly scheduled ALRC meeting. Melissa, Eddie, Robin, thank you for your time, and please err on the side of sending Jim more materials rather than less to make sure that you've got all your bases covered. All right. Do we know?
So the applicant who is here, who needs the Mandarin interpreter, is here. It was one of the phone numbers. I have since changed the name for it, so that person is here and able to handle their item.
Wonderful. So let us jump ahead to, is this item 8?
Yeah, it's Fuki LLC.
Excellent. Okay, item 8, new license for Fuki Hot Pot. Do you need to swear in the interpreter?
I do. Interpreter, I can't see you, but if you could raise, oh, I see you. If you could raise your hand, your right hand, and affirm that you'll accurately interpret Mandarin to English, English to Mandarin. You're
Yeah,
muted, but I
Mandarin.
heard you say it.
Yes. Yep.
Excellent. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. So who do we have registered for this item? Oh, is it Lin Ping Yang?
Yeah, my
Correct.
name is Lin Ping Yang.
Okay. So please introduce yourself and describe to us the business you are proposing.
Do I need to wait for the interpreter?
那个就是先简单介绍一下你们的这个餐厅。
OK， 他就是我的名字叫林平阳，然后我们是那个叫 Fuki Hot Pot 的，就是我就是 General Manager， 然后就是我们就是卖一些 beer 跟那个 wine， 就是这样子。
想卖啤酒和红酒，对吧？
对。Hello?
Oh, I was muted. Sorry. My name is Lin Ping Yang, and I'm the general manager of Fuki Hot Pot, and we're looking for selling some beer and wine.
Excellent. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Bruchak.
What's the seating capacity?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Sure. On the application, it says estimated capacity 0 to 100. Shall I interpret that to mean the capacity is 100?
他就是问，就是你们提交那个表格的时候写的，就是人可以有0到100个，所以你们最大的这个容量是100吗？
我们一共有19张桌子，应该是一张，如果按就是说大桌的可能对，可能是不超过100，就是在100以内的，一共是19张桌子。
We have 19 tables in the whole restaurant, and if the restaurant is full, it's not going to be over 100.
Right. Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Alder Carter.
I just want to center back on the tables. How many chairs are at each table?
他想问一下，那个每张桌子有多少个椅子？
正常小的桌子是有4个椅子，就是 booth 嘛，有的是 booth，有的是 chair， 小的 table 就是4个，然后就是有几张长的 table 是6个。
You're muted again.
Oh, sorry. There are some smaller tables which can have 4 people, and there are few longer table can hold 6 people per table.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alder Carter. Ms. Farley, then Alder Verveer.
Point of information, I'm sorry, what was the item or agenda number for this item?
It is number 8. Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. I do have one question for the applicant, and that is on your application for question number 11. The question is, was this premise license for the sale of liquor or beer during the past year? And you checked yes, and license issued to, and just the letter F. Am I correct that this is the former Fazoli's restaurant location on Lean Road?
他在问，就是在你填那个信息的时候，然后他有就问题第11个问题，然后想问你是不是在这个之前他的那个 restaurant 的那个餐厅的名字叫什么？是之前有一个餐厅吗？
对，是叫福州里，对。
Yes, that's correct. This is the location for that restaurant.
Thank you. And is the capacity of 100 persons on your application because that was the Fazoli's license capacity, or not necessarily?
你在上面填的那个人数不是100嘛？然后他问的就是说，你这么填100，是不是因为之前那个餐厅的酒牌的这个人数也是填的100？
我不是很清楚他之前填的是多少，我们就是大概估计一下，就是说不超过100人这样子。我是按他可能以前的座位来算一下，因为我们现在的座位会变大一点点，可能人数会少一点点这样子。
Okay. I do not know the capacity of the previous restaurant, and then we actually have bigger capacity compared to the previous one.
Where did you get the capacity number 100?
你是怎么算的100？
就是我们按他以前那个椅子，大概估计了一下，应该是在80到100人这样子，按他的椅子的座位人数。
就是还是按照之前那个餐厅的，
对，椅子的座位人数。
Oh, it's based on what they had before. Like they had how many tables they had. It's based on the previous restaurant, and they made the approximation.
Alder Verveer, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Chair, for asking my follow-up question. And I would like to ask the Deputy City Clerk to please review for us what the Fazoli's license capacity was and let us know when he finds that figure. Thank you.
Ms. Farley?
Sorry.
Sounds good. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Dr. Reese.
I'll move to grant.
I hear a motion to grant. I see a second from Ms. Westra. Any discussion? Hearing none. Alder Carter.
Can we wait until Jim gets that information?
By all means.
Thank you.
Fazoli's didn't have an alcohol license, so I don't know unless I can find it somewhere else, but I don't know if I would necessarily have that information.
Oh, come on, Jim. I mean, we've got like 3 different systems that have capacities in it. You're saying you can't just look in all of them and tell us? That doesn't make any sense.
They did have a special occupancy license.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
The fire license.
All right. Alder Carter, do you have any questions that Mr. Verbeek might have the necessary computer access to answer?
Obviously not.
All right. So we have a motion to grant this license. Any further discussion?
Was the mover Dr. Reese and seconder Ms. Westra?
It was.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. The application is granted. Congratulations, Lin Ping.
申请通过了，恭喜。
Okay, thank you.
All right. Moving right along, arguably. Item 6. Item 6 is a 21+ entertainment license for the International. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, Apollo Marquez is here.
Wonderful. Apollo, please introduce yourself and let us know what you're proposing.
Apollo, you should have a prompt to unmute.
I think he's on phone. He might have to hit, I forget what the star number is.
*6 to unmute. Apollo, are you able to hit *6 to unmute?
There we go. Can you hear me?
We can.
Sorry about that. I have no idea why that was not working. So my name is Apollo. Just wanted to, where we resubmitted the, I guess, kind of the security plan for the entertainment license. I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to check it out. I got it in, I know, later this afternoon.
All right.
And I guess, I'm not sure what you guys have for questions on it.
That's good. Dr. Reese.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for sending that. And committee members, if you didn't hear, we said it early before the meeting started, but you have the updated application in your inbox because it wasn't cooperating with Legistar. So if you haven't looked, it's there. Looks great to me. So thanks. I appreciate you filling that out.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Reese. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant about the security plan? Ms. Farley.
Can I move the movement to grant?
You may. Do I hear a second? Second from Dr. Reese. Any discussion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 6 is granted. Congratulations, Apollo.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a good night. Next up, Item 7, 21 plus entertainment license for Caspian Grill. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
We do. Amin is here.
Excellent. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you're proposing?
Good evening. My name is Emin. I'm owner of Caspian Grill, Madison, Wisconsin. We doing entertainment for we're doing a family style banquet. You guys hear me?
We heard you introduce yourself and say that you were going to have a family style banquet. Did you say anything else after that?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Ms. Farley? Nothing from Ms. Farley. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Dr. Reese.
How many people? Oh, you say 300. So would this be mainly for private events that you're looking for, or people that book family events, banquets, that sort of thing?
Yes, we are looking for private events. Like we having up to 300 people for the banquet, but we never fit in 300 people, and we mostly can fit in 200 people because we built in a stage, and so it take a little bit more space from the property.
Okay, and would there ever be a case where you would have a band come in just for people who are there for the restaurant, or is the entertainment pretty much just for these events?
No, we are put in a posting everywhere, Facebook everywhere. We try doing every Friday and Saturday, and like I say, people walk in also, and also we're doing a banquet for party for Thursday or weddings and stuff. But right now, what we're doing, we basically mostly we're doing karaoke right now so far.
And what are your hours of operation?
So Monday to Thursday, 11 till 9:30, and Friday and Saturday we open till 2 a.m. But the music will stop by midnight. And a Sunday we just open for brunch 12 to 4.
Okay, thank you. And then you did note on the application where it says description of clothing to identify security personnel, you wrote not applicable. And I would just ask, with 200 people, you'd want to have staff that are visible for that sort of thing. So can you describe how you manage your crowds?
So we're having, we're having a full camera all around and outside also. And also just want to let you know, and we all events and then it's like family. It's an all adult and mostly more adults coming to our events. We're kind of in a unique space, and we kind of we try to do adults over 30 years and 40 years like this. Not when and we don't do like this kind of in a bar or disco or nightclub. We're not doing this kind of stuff. And also, like I said, we're having a full camera and a recorded over months, hold it over months, hold it. So so we control it everywhere. So if I have it in my second location, if I'm been in there, I'm still watching the camera from my phone and everything controlled. But then I don't see when maybe in the future but now I don't see we need more security in the building because, like I say, we don't do any bar or nightclub stuff.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I know I have some family members older than 30 that have a couple too many drinks and might need a little security. So it's always important with alcohol that we're making sure. But thank you for sharing your plans. That's all I have.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Reese. Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Baruchak, then Assistant City Attorney Zelavi.
So does the staff at not wear uniforms? Like if I go right now, there would be people who work there would be wearing like street clothes.
No, we're having all my staff in the union form. So we do our service people and then doing the vortex, and it's like I say, it's a top and then a unique and then a dress.
Okay, so it's fair to say if I was there at 11 p.m. to see a band, I had an issue, I would be able to look around and potentially find someone who works there.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay.
You can see right away when you walk in because then, like I say, you can see and because then everybody dress up completely different within the guests.
Thank you. No further questions.
Yes, and then like I say, we're doing service people using a vest, white shorts, and bottom.
Excellent, thank you. Assistant City Attorney Zelavi.
Hello, I'm just wondering whether you've checked with zoning to make sure that this is an approved use at the property?
Can you repeat your questions? I really don't understand what you're saying.
Oops, sorry, hang on.
I mean, if you ask me a question, we did approve from, like I say, from the landlord and all the zones, we don't kind of properties, a big parking lot. This kind of question you ask me?
Well, there are some zoning designations that require additional approvals for use of properties. And I'm just wondering whether you had explored whether there are any zoning limitations to your having the entertainment license.
So I'm so sorry, and I really don't understand your questions. Like I say, what's that mean? Can you explain to me, please? And what does that mean? What's I mean in zones, like I say, we got very good property and we have any.
Assistant City Attorney Zelavi, would you like me to take a stab at it?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
So zoning is city rules about what you can do with properties in a certain region. So it's like you can't just go into a place that's full of houses and knock a couple of houses down and put a factory there.
Yeah, we don't have any around our house.
And so for any given location in the city of Madison, there are explicit written down rules that say what you are allowed to do there. And then there's and if what you're doing is in that set, then no problem. And then the second set is things where you are allowed to do it if you get permission. So the first category is called a permitted use. The second is called a conditional use. So Assistant City Attorney Zelavi was asking, have you checked to make sure that what you are doing is a permitted use for this property? And given that you weren't familiar with the concept, I'm guessing that you have not had the opportunity to check yet.
Yeah, I understand your question now. And yes, definitely. And then well, before we sign up on a contract and with landlord, and definitely he gave it to me in a map when a zoning area. And then can you, my wife, more explain to me because she's more speaking English better than me, please?
Yes, when we look for this place and sign contract with our landlord. And we mentioned we're gonna have, or we're planning to do the live music. And we get approved in the document for zoning, you said. So yes, we can have a live music in this building. We have this in the document from
Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Verbeek, are there any other registrants for this item?
No, there are not.
Committee, what is your pleasure? Dr. Reese.
Move approval.
All right, here a motion to grant, a second from Mr. Bruchak. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Mr.
I'll just note that I was satisfied with the concern with respect to the security, the clothing to identify security personnel. He clarified that I would know. But I think the question may have, he said, doesn't need to be security. I think we got to where we need to be, so I can vote for approval.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 7, 21 plus entertainment license for Caspian Grill is granted. Congratulations, Eamon.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night. All right, item 9, new license for Peruvian cuisine. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
We do not.
Committee, what is your pleasure?
Is this the first time or the second time it's been on the agenda?
This is the second time. And this is not a new, I mean, this isn't a new application, but this applicant already has an alcohol license. This is adding alcohol. But I think they're just a beer, B beer, C wine right now, I think. And this would be to go to a full combo. So they're familiar with the process. And I'm not getting bounce backs in email, and the email I'm sending is to the one on the application.
Alder Carter? Alder Carter?
I was gonna do a motion. Is this the right time?
By all means.
I move to file without prejudice.
Got a motion to place item 9 on file without prejudice. Do I hear a second? Second from Ms. Westra. Any discussion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 9 is placed on file without prejudice. All right, item 10, new license for mobile gas station. So is it like a truck that drives around and gives you gas? Do we have a registrant here from this item?
Hello.
Yes, we do. Hassan.
All right. Hassan, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed mobile gas station?
Hi, my name is Hassan. I am the manager at Mobile Gas Station on East Wash. And we are applying for Class A beer license.
All right. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant, Mr. Bruchak?
So you're only applying for the Class A beer license, not a Class A liquor license?
Just the beer license for
Okay.
Class A.
Makes it easier.
Can I ask a question of the committee or?
You may.
There's a city ordinance that prohibits the sale of liquor, but it doesn't include beer and wine. Is that correct?
Yes, it's just hard spirits.
Okay, thanks.
Let's see, Ms. Farley. All right, Alder Carter, do you, all right. Committee, what questions? Mr. Verbeek.
Hassan, do you also go by the name Joseph Mani?
No, Joseph, he's the owner.
Okay.
So he's the member of LLC.
Okay. And you're not the liquor beer agent either?
Like, or the one who take the test?
Yeah, so it looks like your name was written as a liquor beer agent on the application, but then it was crossed off, and then Joseph's name was written.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did take the test. It was Joseph Mani. He's the owner. Take that.
Okay. Okay, that's all the questions I have for you.
Yeah,
I would say with the committee, this isn't a question for the registrant, but for the committee is I know we're sort of in this limbo where we're in the position of other people in the business being able to answer questions. My concern is though with this application is Hassan is telling us this is a Class A beer only. However, the application has box checks for Class A beer and Class A liquor, and I wouldn't feel comfortable asking the question about which particular license, if it's just the Class A beer, if it's the Class A beer and Class A liquor, unless Joseph would be here to answer that question.
I'll back that up. It has always been our policy that while there can be additional people present with the applicant advising them, that the person we talk to needs to be the agent or an officer of the corporation. Because anyone who is not one of those isn't able to make commitments on behalf of the business and officially answer our questions. So I believe, Hassan, what that means is if you're not the agent, that the person who is, or some other officer of the corporation needs to come to an ALRC meeting. Jim, your hand is up. Do you have additional things you want to say?
I don't. I just hadn't. I would say the only member of the LLC on the application is Joseph.
Okay. Ms. Westron.
Move referral to next meeting.
Your motion to refer. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Dr. Reese. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Hassan, is it clear to you what we need?
Yes, so either I have to be agent or Joseph have to attend the meeting, right?
That is correct.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. I called Clark office and I asked them if I can do it because Joseph wanted me to do it because he wasn't available today. So that's why I didn't know that he have to be in the meeting.
Well, and he'll have to make the decision. If he wants to send you to us, that's fine. If he's sending you as the official agent who will be listed as the agent on the license.
Yeah, I'll just add that the person you spoke with may not have known that you weren't the liquor beer agent. Sometimes businesses have managers that function as liquor beer agent, and sometimes, like this one, we have owners who appoint themselves liquor beer agent. In order for you to be the agent, Joseph will have to submit a appointment of liquor beer agent for you, and then we'll need a background check for you as well in order for that, in order for you to be appointed as the agent. Otherwise, at this point right now, we would need to have Joseph attend the meeting to fully consider the item.
Jim, one additional thing, between now and the next meeting, can you confirm the spelling of the name of the business and make sure that it's correct?
The DBA name?
I believe so. Right. Let me actually look at it. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Item 12 is next. Item 12, new license for Staybridge Suites, Madison East. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
I do not see anyone. I got. Oh, I'm sorry. We do. I'm sorry. Kenny Ideas here is registered.
Excellent. Kenny, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about what's going on?
I'm sorry. It looks like Kenny registered.
I'm wondering if this might be either our phone number or someone labeled Zoom user. I'm gonna move the phone number over and see if that is in fact Kenny.
And really, aren't we all Zoom users?
Hello, this is Kenny Vaidya.
Kenny, are you here to talk to us about the license for Staybridge Suites?
That's correct.
Excellent, thank you. Can you please introduce yourself, letting us know your name and your role in the organization, and tell us what you'd like?
My name is Kenny Vaidya. I work as a corporate controller for Staybridge Medicine, and I'm representing Mr. Jigar Choksi. Unfortunately, he has to go India for some unforeseen circumstances, so I'm representing him. I heard everything for last Hassan thing. So I'm not one of the owner, but I work as a corporate controller, and I'm representing the company.
Kenny, are you an attorney?
No, I'm CPA.
Okay. Because committee, I had forgotten before, there is a third category, which is if someone is an attorney who has been hired by the owner, then they can also speak on their behalf. So, Kenny, are you an officer in the corporation?
I work as a corporate controller.
Are you an officer in the corporation?
No.
Okay.
I am not.
So that's going to be the same situation as the last person that we...
I understand.
Excellent. Committee, what's your pleasure? Dr. Reese?
Move to refer to the next ALRC meeting.
Second.
Second from Alder Carter. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 12 is referred to the next ALRC meeting. Thank you for joining us tonight, Kenny. Next item.
Thank you.
Item 14. Did I make a mistake here? Oh, I see. So items 14 and 15 are both licenses for Exact Sciences at two different addresses. Do we have a registrant here for these items?
Yeah, Nicole Hessels is here for both items.
Excellent. Nicole, can you please introduce yourself and tell us what this is about?
Sure. Hi, Nicole Hessels here. I'm the Senior Director of Wellness, Engagement, and Experience on behalf of Exact Sciences. I am the agent, also here to represent Exact. We would like to host business and corporate events, as well as support nonprofit fundraising opportunities for the community.
All right. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Bruchak.
So will these alcohol sales be open to the public?
They will not. These are private events only.
Okay, thanks.
What additional questions do you have for the applicant? Ms. Farley, then Alder Carter.
I believe the times listed on the application were until 6 p.m. on most business days. Are those the same days that you would plan on hosting these events? Or
I believe,
same time rather.
Sure. I believe my record has that our operation is 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. But the likelihood of events is in the evening time of 3 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Farley. Alder Carter.
Yes, Nicole, can you repeat that? And then I have a question.
Sure. So we have business operations of 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I wanted to be clear that we'll have people here, but most likely the events will not be, or liquor sales will not be at 8 a.m. The likelihood of the events taking place are in the later afternoon into the evening of 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. But we would like the opportunity, if we host a nonprofit event, to give them the space for that until the later time of 10 p.m., but nothing later than 10 p.m.
Okay. My question for you, you said that the community nonprofits might be able to use this space. And so when they're inviting patrons and donors to this event, they would be able to, is that what you're saying is a private event, even though they're inviting the community?
That is correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure of that. And this is 2 different locations, but they both are on the same side of town. Am I correct on that?
That is correct as well. We have the 5505 Endeavor Lane, which is our headquarters building, and the One Exact Lane location. They're about 2 miles apart from each other.
Okay, Endeavor Lane is what threw me. Is that over by the research park?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I still have my faculties. Thank you.
Excellent. Committee, Dr. Reese.
For the committee or staff, is this a situation where if they had live music, they need an entertainment license for these events? I always get confused on these.
Yeah, any premise that has alcohol, that has live music, DJ or designated dance floor would need an entertainment license.
Nicole, do you anticipate having either a DJ or a band or any kind of live music at these events?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. So yeah, just note that if you do that you need that additional license. Thanks.
I mean, I've seen that beautiful building. I'd be amazed if it doesn't have a dance floor.
It does not.
Alder Carter.
I'd like to make a motion to grant.
I hear a motion.
On both 14 and 15.
All right, I hear a motion to grant items 14 and 15. Do I hear a second? A second from Ms. Westra. Before discussion, I do have one question for, it's not exactly a question. I have one thing for the applicant. Nicole, so the premises that you describe is the entire building for each of these. I just want to make sure that you're aware that if it's the entire building, it's really the entire building, which means on the plus side, people could carry alcohol into any part of the building and you wouldn't be in violation of your license. On the potential minus side, it would not be legal for people to bring any alcohol in to any part of the building that wasn't purchased through a distributor and wasn't in your control. Does that all make sense? And is that something you're comfortable with?
It makes sense, and we are comfortable with that.
Okay. Hypothetically, if you decided later, ooh, we want to shrink that, you could come back with a application for a change of licensed premises. And I am as confident as I can be that the committee would not be concerned about you shrinking the size of your licensed premises.
Thank you for that additional information.
No problem. Alder Carter.
No, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Of course. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Items 14 and 15, new licenses for Exact Sciences at 2 different locations, are granted. Congratulations.
Chair, before we move forward, I do see that Joseph Manny from item 10 is now a registered participant. I don't know if we wanted to see if that is the Joseph Manny and potentially reconsider the action taken already.
That sounds like a good idea. Let us first see if this actually is the right person, and then can entertain a motion. Joseph, are you the owner of the mobile gas station?
Hey, can you hear me? Hello?
We can.
Okay, yeah, I am the owner of the gas station.
Wonderful. Committee, the chair would entertain a motion to reconsider. Mr. Bruchak.
So moved.
All right, I hear a motion from Mr. Bruchak, second from Dr. Reese. Is there any discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 10 is back before us. So, Joseph, can you please tell us what you're proposing?
Hi, we're actually trying to get a beer license approved for our gas station.
And just beer?
Yeah, just beer, Class A beer license.
Excellent, thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Jim?
Oh, I'm sorry, there's a holdover from before. I'm sorry, was the mover on the reconsideration, Barshuk, and who's the second, Reese?
Correct.
Yes, okay, awesome, thank you.
No problem. Ms. Farley.
Yep. And just to clarify, you would only intend to sell beer, no wine or anything like that?
No, just beer for now.
All right. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Bruchak.
Thank you. Would you be okay with? Well, I'm going to ask my fellow committee members after I get the answer from you. But before I do that, I'd like to ask you if you'd be okay with certain conditions on the beer sales to make sure that we're not doing individuals like cup holder roadies, if you will. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, I didn't get what you were saying.
I have a concern about open intoxicants in vehicles, and I know that depending on like the sizes and quantities, some sizes are more like encourage people to drive with an open intoxicant. So if I suggest to the members of this committee that we put a restriction that tries to control for that, would you object?
No, I wouldn't object. I'll probably work around it. I'll probably get something. This is like a pack, like 6 packs or 4 packs, which will be harder for them to open.
Yep. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Alder Verveer, then Alder Carter.
Thank you, Chair Donnelly. First, certainly glad you were able to make our meeting here, so we don't have to delay your application, sir. The first question is a really simple one that I think we all know the answer to, but on our agenda, I think there was a typo, and the doing business as was spelled M-O-B-I-L-E. Your doing business name is simply M-O-B-I-L, like as in ExxonMobil.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And is there further? Is it just mobile, or is there like East Washington Mobile? Is there something else that on your actual application the first page of your application, you leave the question number 2, the trade name doing business as blank. It's not listed. What's the
doing business as is Maranatha. It's a what's it called, the corporation name. Sorry, not the corporation. It's the LLC name.
Right, and that's listed on question number 1 as Maranatha LLC. Is the trade name simply then mobile, or?
I think trade name is simply mobile. Yeah, we don't have another trade name.
Okay, thank you. And then according to your application, am I correct that you purchased the business from Capital Petroleum?
You're right. We are actually in lease with them. Actually, that's what it was going on.
Oh, I see you have a lease relationship with them. And then, are you familiar with any license conditions that were on the former license for Capital Petroleum?
Yes, they did have prior license for beer only, no liquor yet.
And are you familiar? Were there conditions on their license?
No, I'm not actually familiar with the condition of the license.
Like along the lines that were just asked? You aren't?
Oh, yeah. It was pretty similar when I talked to the previous owner.
So, Deputy City Clerk, I presume that you are prepared to share what the specific license conditions were for the
I'm gonna look that up real quick.
The previous license at this location.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that, Jim. I'm sorry, sir?
No, he just basically told me that you can sell beer, which is in cans, and packs of beer. So besides that, he didn't really clarify. So that's what we have in common.
I understand.
The conditions are the ones you would expect. The establishment shall not sell, dispense, or give away fermented malt beverages in the original container in amounts less than the amount contained in a 6-pack of 12-ounce bottles or cans. This is only applicable to fermented malt beverages, which fall into the following categories of brands: domestic premium, domestic sub-premium, which includes value and economy brands, malt liquor, and similarly situated imported brands. Condition 2, flavored malt beverages containing up to 6% alcohol by volume may not be sold, dispensed, or given away in the original container in amounts less than a 4-pack of 12-ounce bottles or cans. Flavored malt beverages containing over 6% alcohol by volume may not be sold, dispensed, or given away in the original container in amounts less than a 6-pack of 12-ounce bottles or cans.
Okay, got it.
Thank you. And so to Mr. Manny, do you have any concerns with continuing those conditions that were on the previous license?
No, I would like to continue like that.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Of course.
Thank you.
Alder Carter.
No, I have nothing else. I was going to have Jim look up the previous conditions, which he's already done. Or I should say you have done, Chair.
I bet he's done it too. All right. Any further questions for the applicant or staff? If someone would like a motion, would be in order.
I move to grant with conditions.
I hear a motion to grant with conditions, with the same conditions that were on the previous license. All right. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Alder Verveer. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Congratulations, Joseph. And thank you for being able to hop in so quickly. This made it a lot easier.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Sure. Have a great night.
Thank you. You do this. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that's a pleasant surprise. So that brings us to item 16. Item 16, new license for Gibbs at a new location. And I see we do have someone here for this. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you're proposing?
Hello. Hey, sorry, I missed the first part of what you were saying.
Can you introduce yourself and let us know what you're proposing?
Sure. Thank you. Gilbert Altschul, taking over the liquor license for Warner Park Community Recreation Center from Blue Plate Catering. will be the liquor license holder, bar service provider for events that come through the Warner Park Community Recreation Center. We've been doing it at the Madison Central Library in the same capacity for part of 5 years now. So super comfortable with the run of things.
Excellent. Ms. Farley.
Hey, Chair. I need to step away for a moment to deal with a personal issue. Is there any concern about quorum or anything like that?
I believe we are fine. We are fine. Thank you for letting us know, though, and for making sure it would be okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Anytime this happens, I'm guessing that Mike is there with me, feeling so relieved that we don't have exactly 5 members on the committee. That was a very painful time. All right, committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Assistant City Attorney Zellaby.
Thank you. I assume you have a contract with Warner Park?
Yep, absolutely. This is the last piece. It hasn't been signed by all of the parties. Once it does, it'll get sent over to Jim.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant City Attorney Zellaby. What additional questions do you have for the applicant? Alder Carter.
Gilbert, is your contract is it annual contract or is it multiple years?
To be honest, off the top of my head, I don't know. It's in the contract. I know with the library, I think it renewed every 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I can dig through that if you want.
No, I was just curious. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Alder Carter. Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? In that case, a motion would be in order. Alder Verveer.
Thank you. I move to grant.
Do I hear a second? Second from Ms. Westra.
And I'll just mention for information that a resolution was adopted at the last Common Council meeting after having been recommended by city committees to execute this agreement.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Additional discussion. Alder Miazzi.
No, I just wanted to say that also too, I was instrumental in speaking to parties as far as with Warner Park at Zach, and I spoke to him, and he was he told me about the process, and so we had a good discussion about moving this forward. So this definitely has my approval too, as an alder that's within the district. Thanks.
Excellent. Very good. Additional discussion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 16 is granted. Congratulations, Gilbert.
Thanks, team. Appreciate it.
Have a great night.
You too.
Next up, item 17. Item 17, new license application for Sookie's Veggie Burgers. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
John McCune is here.
John, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed establishment?
Sure thing. Can everybody hear me?
We can.
All right. We're operating on State Street currently with a fermented malt beverage license. We're looking to just expand our offering by doing some cocktails with some local sodas that we have from Wisco Pop. And we're hoping for a slight extension on our latest hour for serving. I think I put 2 a.m. on the application, but we we have since revised that to be 12. We don't want to serve past midnight. So.
All right, that is very clear. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Assistant City Attorney Zellevy.
Do you plan on having any kind of entertainment, DJ or anything?
No.
I asked because on Halloween you had a DJ.
There was a guy spinning some vinyl. I guess you could call him a DJ. He was just playing records from that were, old Jamaican classics.
I beg to differ with the Jamaican classics, but it was really loud, and the speakers were facing out onto the street, which was a no-no.
I agree. We responded to the advice that we were getting from police that were in the area, took it back inside. And I multiple times, had asked them to turn the volume down. We're not really that type of establishment. And so, yeah, we're not planning to invite him back.
Okay. Because if you are going to do that, you'll need an entertainment license.
Correct.
So.
Yeah. It was a different experience than what I was expecting. A little bit louder than what I was expecting. We're a study space, not a club. So.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Baruchak.
Just to make sure first, thanks for showing up tonight. First, I'd like to check what I just heard. Did you say you're a study space?
As in, we are more the vibe of a space where students can come and study and, have a chill meal. We are in no way, shape, or form attempting to be a club with loud music and whatnot. Just like it generally, not specifically.
Do you have additional questions?
You can. That's all for me right now.
All right. Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant, Alder Carter?
I don't have additional questions, but at the appropriate time, I would like to move a motion.
Go for it.
I move to grant.
Your motion to grant. Alder Verveer? Are you interested? Are you seconding? Did you? Okay.
I'll second for discussion purposes, but I have questions.
All right. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So for the applicant first, we received communications that I presume you've seen them as well, John, from both the Alder of the District, Alder Heck, and the Campus Area Neighborhood Association with, I'll just use the description, lukewarm commentary for your most recent request of us. Could you first, John, have you seen those communications?
I have.
And could you respond to the concerns that are articulated in each of them, please?
Yeah. I figured that would be a question that came up. So we met with Alder Heck and the Campus Area Neighborhood Association. For those of you that have not read the letter, essentially it showed support for us adding variety to our menu through these cocktails, but it showed concern, specifically a security concern, as far as us having a plan for addressing, the late night crowd. And I guess to Alder Revere's point, how I would respond to that concern is I don't think I adequately detailed, the measures that are in place. And so I'd like to do so here. We have a bar that is there's two security concerns, right? It's one, people over drinking, over consuming, and so we have multiple bartenders on staff that have experience in serving alcohol. Another security concern is the placement of the liquor, making sure nobody can reach over and grab a bottle if they're completely intoxicated. We have a small area where we are serving beer currently. There's a 4-foot separation, a 4-foot bar between a customer and the tap system, and then there's another 4 feet between the wall where we're planning on keeping the liquor and the customer. And so there's no way for anybody to grab the liquor without going right past our cashier, who is right there and present at all times. So that's as far as the storage of the liquor. And then I think the last concern is security. And so a security concern, how I would address that, we are currently selling 2% of our overall sales are from our beer. Currently, we're not doing any sort of the volume that you're seeing elsewhere on State Street. And our area, our space is entirely visible to the cashier slash the person that's going to be serving them alcohol. So sharing of drinks, walking out with drinks, all of those things would be quite easily seen by the people that are working, and we'd be able to address it that way. Does that help, Holder?
Yes. Yeah. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
And then could you share with us, please, John, what your experience was at your other location in the city of Milwaukee relating to alcohol service?
Yeah, we actually just had the food trailer, so we didn't sell any.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Madison was your first market for an alcohol license.
Correct.
I see. And then have you had the opportunity to discuss with the Central Police District command staff your latest request?
Yeah, they were included on communications, and it was, clear to me that Alder Heck and the Campus Area Neighborhood Association had discussed this with them, or at least had made notice to them, but we have not had a chance to one-on-one discuss with the police captain.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sure I've noted that Captain Sanders is present with us as a member of the committee, so I'll ask the captain to weigh in with his recommendation at the appropriate time. Thank you, John. Thank you, Chair.
Of course. Alder Miadzi.
Yeah, I just had a quick question as far as security wise. Have you guys thought about bouncer, given that sometimes it's not really a bartender's, keep an eye on customers and pouring drinks, so forth. Just wondering if, as far as, can you touch a little bit more about security as far as bouncers or even cameras? Thank you.
Sure thing. I think it's a great question. We don't right now have a need for a bouncer because of our low levels of alcohol sales. But if we were to start selling a lot more, that is the first thing that I would do is hire a security company. Right now, there's just not. Like I said, I put 5% on the application. I looked at the numbers. We're at 2% of our overall sales. We're really a restaurant, and we're just giving that to people on the side. So, like having a bouncer at a restaurant would be, it'd be a little bit awkward.
Yeah, I didn't realize the size. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
All right, committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Bruchak.
Thanks. So you're asking to also sell liquor, so I'm thinking that in my mind gets you closer to a tavern, or maybe a business model that is alcohol focused. Now Alder Heck is asking us to only support adding liquor to the license if we are convinced that you can provide us a secure and safe operation and business model that's not alcohol focused. Does adding, can you respond to or comment on that? Is your business will be more like a study space, not a tavern, even though you're staying open later and expanding the the type of beverage you're selling?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's the largest concern that Alder Heck has conveyed to me is, other businesses on State Street have transitioned to more of a bar rather than a restaurant. We right now the numbers are showing that we're entirely a restaurant. We are not looking to stay open any later. We're looking to serve liquor a little bit later. Our plan is to still sell food till 2 in the morning, which we have been doing successfully, and that's right now we're not looking to serve liquor until that point. I think that shows that we are willing to stay open till those later hours without the liquor, but that is something that can help boost our staff levels and overall make us a more secure environment at that time. So yeah, it's hard to say, like, if we had the liquor license and we sell a gazillion cocktails, then we won't become a bar, but we're limiting our menu to specific made cocktails instead of doing like shots or any kind of mixed drink that you can think of. We're really just using those couple sodas that we have on tap to make that. We don't actually have the space right now to convert to a full service bar. We wouldn't have the space on our shelf for all those liquors, and we wouldn't have the space in our refrigerator for all those different kinds of sodas and mixes. So I hope that helps.
Yes, thanks for that answer. No questions from me.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bruchak. Captain Sanders, did you have a question?
No, I was going to wait for Alder Verveer to ask me a question.
Alder Verveer, do you have any questions for Captain Sanders?
Yeah, of course, as everyone was anticipating, I was hoping that you would share your words of wisdom with us, Captain, as a longtime entertainment district protector of the peace.
Thank you, Alder Verveer. I think Colin and Alder Miyazzi did a very good job of asking questions that are extremely kind of, I guess, concerning from a standpoint of when you look at the operational hours. Anytime you throw something into that middle of the 500 block of State Street, right in the heart of the entertainment zone, I think there's always areas for concern. When you talk about, I think what we're trying to get at is when we're talking about that slippery slope of getting towards the hours. And when we're thinking about the hours of operation, the hours of service. So if you're telling me that 12 a.m. isn't necessarily designed to be in that kind of mind frame of being a tavern, I would have to argue against that. I think that is extremely borderlining on that, going into the tavern kind of mode opposed to a restaurant mode when you're still willing to serve alcohol at those hours. Once again, reestablishing that you're going to be in the heart, or you are in the heart of the entertainment zone. So I think one kind of contributes to another. When you think about it, when you sell to that time period, and that's kind of the pre-game model. So I guess my only concern would be, or my ask would be, is the hours amendable? And I'll leave that to John to answer.
That's a great question. I think if the committee was looking to limit our hours to a certain end time, I would say, yeah, I mean, we'd be happy to start serving cocktails, and just at least, like, get in the habit of being able to serve hard liquor, which is, obviously a little bit more, I don't want to use the word dangerous, but like it can get people drunk more quickly, right? So we're amenable to taking reduced hours. It's just we have served until 10 so far, and we have actually stayed open until 2 a.m. on the weekends. And there are, people that come in from the time period of 10 to midnight that are not drunk, that are looking for a drink before they go to another bar. And currently we have not been able to serve those customers, which is very minimal lost revenue for us. I'll tell you, it's, like I said, it's 2% that we're talking about, but it does make a difference in how we're able to staff those hours and justify being open. So that's why the ask is 12. We have had people come in later than that and ask for drinks, but those people we're not interested in serving those customers. For I guess a point of information, the previous restaurant that was here had a liquor license that was till 11 p.m. I don't recall exactly why we were reduced to 10 p.m., but that in this space, the previous owner had been able to do a full service bar till 11 p.m.
In a lot of cases, when a new license comes in, we put more restrictive conditions on it and loosen them over time based on operation of the business. Minnie, do we have other questions for the applicant? Or staff or MPD? Mr. Verbeek, do we have any other registrants for this item? Committee, what's your pleasure?
We do not. Chair, I believe we already have a motion on the table.
I apologize. I had lost track of that. Okay, so we have a motion to grant. Any further discussion? Mr. Bruchak.
I'll probably vote no on this one. Well, I will. Unless we can cook up a compromise quickly, but I don't think that that would be possible, not having representatives from the neighborhood. But I do understand the concerns that the establishment is going towards a tavern and is alcohol focused, and that is exactly what the neighborhood is concerned about. So I'll be opposed to the motion.
All right. Alder Miazzi.
I don't know if it's passed, but I was just wondering if Captain Zanders could elaborate that if they were to get security, possibly, if that would be something that be interested in having for late hours, or even to have, since we're really looking into late hours, being called a tavern versus just soft drinks or whatever they want to call it. So just wondering Captain Sanders' input about having security.
Captain Sanders.
Thank you, Alder. I don't know if the true question is security poses, is the staff trained and equipped to handle the alcohol services that they're going to be providing, especially during those times. I don't know. Again, kind of to John's point, if a restaurant will look comfortable with a security officer kind of standing at the door managing. So I think it's about them receiving the appropriate training that comes along with some of the tavern safety training that Central CPT provides. So I think it's definitely something to look into a little bit deeper. But once again, to Colin's point, I think when you start serving alcohol kind of in the later hours, that's when you're finding yourself on that slippery slope from going from a restaurant to a tavern.
Thank you, Captain Sanders. Alder Miazzi, do you have additional questions or comments?
No. Thanks, Chair, and thank you, Captain Sanders, for that answer.
Thank you, Alder Miati. Ms. Westra, then Alder Revere. Ms. Westra?
I'd like to add two conditions. One is that alcohol sales would stop at 12 a.m. and that food must be served the whole time that alcohol sales are happening.
All right. I apologize. I don't remember who made and seconded the motion.
I'm amenable to that.
Okay. Excellent then.
Alder Revere was the second.
Alder Revere, are you comfortable with both of those?
I'd like to discuss the potential conditions a little further.
By all means.
Thank you. And Ms. Westford, were you complete? I don't want to speak in advance.
Yep. Okay, those are the two things.
Thank you. So anyway, Ms. Westford was along the same mindset as I was. And so with that said, we need to have a little further colloquy with the applicant about the proposed conditions. So John, if I might, let me just quickly by background say that, this committee has tons of experience dealing with sensitive applications in the entertainment district, and you're right in the epicenter at the 500 block of State Street. So obviously don't take this personally, and notwithstanding
recording stopped.
I don't know if I have to pause for the city.
Recording in progress.
Okay, there we go. The media team started up again. Anyway, so John, just don't take it personally, notwithstanding what Attorney Zillavi shared about Halloween weekend. I don't know of any operational concerns with your great establishment, your restaurant. With that said, if you just take a gander at the various, just the alcohol license conditions in the 500 block of State Street, they have a couple of things in common. One is I'll start with the easy ones. One is the one that Ms. Wester already proposed, and I was going to suggest that it be worded that food shall be available at all times. And then another easy one that hasn't been mentioned is that the establishment shall meet the definition of a restaurant by Madison General Ordinance Section 38.02 at all times. So if I could, I'll pause there. John, do you have any concerns or questions about those two conditions, that food shall be available at all times and that the establishment shall meet the definition of a restaurant in our ordinances at all times that you're open?
No, like I said, most of our money is coming from online orders late at night. So we're not stopping food whether or not you place a condition on it or not. So
I appreciate that. It's just comfort for us on the committee, perhaps. And not that this will ever come close to happening to you, but you could be prosecuted by the city for specific conditions on your license, allegedly, being contrary to your practice. Anyway, so then the big one is Attorney Brisk can correct me if I misspeak, but under state statute, if we do grant you the alcohol license, you have a right to be open until statutory bar time is set by state statute. So we always have a colloquy with applicants before we include a condition ending your availability to serve alcohol service before that statutory bar time. Obviously, we would have done this with you when you came before us not that long ago for the Class B beer license, and the condition was added that you must, cease beer sales or alcohol sales by 10 p.m. nightly. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of that. So do you have, on the record here, do you have any objection to us including at this point in time a condition that, as articulated by Ms. Wester, relating to alcohol service time ending would be 7 days a week by midnight?
I have zero concerns about that. In fact, I would go so far as to say we will not be serving till midnight the first day that we are granted if we are granted a license. We're more than willing to take it slow and just serve things alongside our beer until not the late hours, until So we're fully trained. We've, done the sitting trainings and that kind of thing. So yes.
Great. Well, I really appreciate your willingness to do that. And as the chairperson already articulated, there's a history of establishments that are your neighbors coming back for further allowance after having these sorts of conditions agreed to. And there's not really a lot of rhyme or reason, by the way, to your neighbors. Taco Bell has a one-time limit, and the Asian cuisine restaurants near you have other license conditions relating to when alcohol service must cease. So we don't have a uniform. But so again, I will just emphasize what the chair said, and that is that feel free to come back to us in the future if this license is granted. So thanks very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Alder Revere. All right, so we have a motion before us to grant with conditions. Is there any further discussion of this motion?
Can we go over the conditions again? I know we talked about definition of restaurants and food available all times. I think it was alcohol service ceased by midnight.
Those are the three.
Period. Okay, cool.
All right. If there's no further discussion, Mr. Verbeek, will you please call the roll?
All right. Give me a moment here. Alder Miazzi?
Aye.
Alder Miazzi, aye. Alder Revere?
Aye.
Alder Revere, aye. Mr. Barshuk?
No.
Mr. Barshuk, no. Dr. Reese?
Aye.
Dr. Reese, aye. Miss Farley is left. Or is she still here?
I just came back, but I'd like to abstain since I wasn't here for all parts of the discussion.
Sounds great. Okay. Miss Westra?
Aye.
Miss Westra, aye. Alder Carter?
Aye.
Alder Carter, aye. Chair, that is 5 ayes, 1 nay, and 1 abstention.
All right, thank you, Mr. Verbeek. Motion carries. License is granted for Suki's Veggie Burgers. Congratulations, John, and have a good night.
Thank you.
So next up is item 18. Item 18, new license for tacos and tequila. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
We have 2 registrants. We have Benjamin Roberts and Julie Chamberlain.
All right. Is either of them Benjamin and Julie? Oh, I see. Okay, so Julie is the agent. Benjamin, what is your role?
I am the owner of the LLC.
Excellent. Well, the 2 of you can fight it out for who wants to talk first. Whoever it is, please introduce yourself and tell us what sort of business you're proposing.
I already won. My name is Ben Roberts, and I would first of all like to say that I'm the owner of Salsa Pants Incorporated, which is the parent company of Pasquale's Cantina restaurants, which have been operating in Madison for 22 years. And this is the first time that we have not been on the consent agenda that I can recall. And after listening, I would like to make a motion to commend all of you for your patience and careful thought with everything that we have listened to this evening and all the other ALRC meetings. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yep. And I mean it sincerely. We are looking to open up a craft and luxury taco establishment at 1925 Monroe Street. We will be serving margaritas, beer, wine, and sangria, as well as delicious tacos and a few select other appetizer type items.
Excellent. To answer an implied question you had, the reason, or A reason why any application at this address would not be on the consent agenda is our guidelines for exclusion from consent agenda include 4 specific geographic regions, and that of Monroe Street is one of them, given significant growth of licensed establishments over time and concerns that neighbors have previously expressed. So, committee, what questions do you have for the applicants? I can't tell whether you are unconcerned or tired. Alder Carter.
I will say tired. Okay. In this location, was there a restaurant there before, Jim?
Let me look.
It was a retail fish market that also had a liquor license.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. I just, this address looks familiar, but that's okay.
It was Burke and Benham's Seafood LLC.
Indeed.
Okay, that's why. Thank you. And are you, oh, you're closing at 11 a.m. to 10. Okay, no, that's it. Thanks.
I will ask Ben, would you be comfortable with a condition on the license saying, excuse me, that you would cease sales of alcohol by 10 p.m.?
Yes.
Excellent. That answers like 50 other questions. Alder Miadzi.
You're not going to actually have a dance club, a nightclub, or anything like that.
I think if you have, no, I can't say that. Alder Miadzi.
Was there any engagement with the community or the alder?
Yes, we had a meeting with. Is that a question for me?
Oh, yes. And how did that go?
Yeah, we had a public meeting that went fantastic. The president of the neighborhood was there. Some key neighborhood folks were there. Tag could not be there, but did express excitement and approval of this.
All right, Chair, can I move for approval?
You may. Do you want to include any conditions?
Just at the time that they allocated to stay the same.
So I hear a motion to grant with the condition that alcohol sales will cease by 10 p.m. Do I hear a second? Second from Ms. Westra. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 18 is granted. Congratulations, Ben and Julie, and also congratulations on your stamina.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too. All right, coming down the home stretch. Item 20, report or summary of recent calls for service. Captain Sanders, is there anything to which you would like to draw the committee's attention?
No true significant events. Just kind of highlight a couple. One took place back on December 17th at Red Rock, in which 2 patrons caused a disturbance, pushing and shoving people. Bouncers were able to remove those individuals with the assistance of MPD. It just turned out that 2 of those bouncers were physically assaulted during that altercation, and both suspects were taken into custody without issue on multiple charges to include disorderly conduct, battery, and resisting. On December 20th, there was a unwanted patron at Whiskey Jack's. Upon police arrival, that subject fled away from the scene. Officers were able to contact him later at a vehicle, in which they were also able to recover a handgun. I closed that out with just saying that there was a lot of good work done by the Central Community Police Team this year, in which they recovered over 28 plus handguns from the entertainment zone significant to this committee because alcohol was involved in a lot of those incidents. I just want to say I truly appreciate everybody on this committee. Please, as we move forward into a new year, take your time to really sit back and review these applications. And with that being said, be safe and have a happy New Year's. If there's any questions for me, I'm open to them right now.
So, thank you, Captain. Alder Miazzi.
Thank you, Captain Zanders, for that. I'm just wondering, as you compare this to last year, any really, well, you kind of broke it down a little bit, but just wondering, compared to last year, what are your thoughts, and what are your thoughts moving forward?
So my goals going into a new year, they've actually been my goals since I became the Central District Captain, is to have a safe and inclusive downtown area where all peoples from every environment are welcome to come and enjoy the entertainment zone in a major or mid-major city such as Madison, Wisconsin. When I mentioned that, I think about a local promoter who recently came to my office to discuss some of the challenges that they were experiencing in regards to trying to get an establishment up and running. And I referred them actually to the city attorney's office, and they had a great conversation with Attorney Zillaby. But I really truly want the city to be inclusive, especially the downtown area, to all people of color. And then, like I said, safety is my number one concern. And when we look at safety and going into next year, again, we managed to make it through the summer months during our summer strategic plan without having any incidents of shots being fired in the entertainment zone. And that's something to applaud coming off of a year such as 2021, in which we had multiple incidents that occurred downtown. So safety is the goal moving forward, Alder Miazzi, and thank you for asking, sir.
Thank you for all that you do, and also to thank you to city staff, attorneys, for all the work that you do too, and everybody on this committee too. So I want to commend everybody for a great job, and I'm honored to be on this committee. Thank you.
Committee, what additional questions do you have for Captain Zanders? All right, so next up, summary of licenses issued. Mr. Verbeek, is there anything to which you would like to draw our attention?
There is not, but I'm open to any questions.
Committee, what questions do you have for our representative from the clerk's office?
Hold on. Jim, I don't see that anything got, when I click on that in Legistar, I'm not seeing that there is anything attached.
Oh, shoot.
So that's my question.
There is. I just must have forgot to attach it. Let me send it around real quick. I'll email it so that way it gets there faster and you don't have to worry about anything else. All right, I just emailed it now.
There we go.
Mr. Bruchak.
Jim, how come no one's ever there waiting to register to vote during these meetings?
What was the question? Oh, this thing? That's Varsity Hall. So it's a picture I took, I think in 2019, so it's pre-pandemic. Yeah, no, we're not open for.
Oh, so this isn't a live background.
No, it's not.
I would also hazard a guess that everyone of legal voting age in Jim's household is already registered to vote.
That is correct. All two of us.
All right. Ms. Wester, do you have any questions about?
Nope, I reviewed it. I have no questions.
Wonderful. Committee, any additional questions for Mr. Verbeek? All right. Brings us to the bottom of the agenda. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move adjournment.
Your motion to adjourn from Ms. Wester. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alder Carter. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed at the same privilege. Motion carries. The LRC was adjourned at 8:46 p.m. Have a safe and happy holidays, everyone, and I'll see you next year.
And a happy new year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Make good choices.
You too.